How about friends? How are they? Welcome to this new video about cryptocurrencies. This time we have the follow-up video. Second lesson. Lesson number 2 of Radix for people with little brains like me is for beginners. People we want to start getting to know. Well, not Radix, but the programming language is Crypto. Not that's where this is focused, because this series of videos, thanks to Andrés León here, is connected. Everything there in Spain. So, well, incredible. What is technology like that doesn't let us be connected? I've been talking to people all over the world, suddenly people going 16 hours ahead, that me and you say, what's going on with this? But hey, how are you, Andres? Welcome back to the channel. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. Very well. Starting the year with energies, and I believe that the year 2025 could be very, very interesting from a crypto point of view. From the point of view of web programming 3, I don't know. I understand that because it is a global thing, the issue of topization has come to us. It has come to stay and to surpass us all. In Spain, there are dozens and dozens of projects that cannot find developers. It goes for the whole crypto topic in general. Okay, it's true that they're especially looking for people to program Ethereum virtual machines. Okay, but nothing means that I have nothing left, because there are already projects that are trying to embark on new adventures with new protocols. And the Radix is fantastic for all these types of stories.
Excellent. Yes, that's what we said last time. No, I mean, we have to see this as a possibility of something different. You never know when it is going to arrive, something that you understand, that you learn, and that is going to change your life. And well, this could be something that changes your life. So I'm going to remove this banner here and all this stops. Being able to switch to presentation mode, and we have put it this way so that it looked bigger. Excellent. We start because time is
gold. That's good. Second lesson is valid from 0 to 100. It is valid between the two. What did we see last week? Last week, we basically saw that it was Radix, if you remember. Remember? We were seeing a little bit of the entire complete stack, that Radix is not only an LT network, but it brings a lot of tools and applications that allow us, let's say, enjoy all the advantages of 1DLT in full. We were looking in more detail at the wallet, the transaction manifest. Why is Radix interesting for developers? We superficially saw the theme of the architecture of this DLT, the theme that it is completely oriented to digital assets. The assets are worth, and also a little above the theme that it is modular, and that makes it different and makes it very scalable. In relation to another type of DLTSC, we were finally seeing advantages over scripts, and today we are going to focus a little more on the entire topic. What tools and resources do we have? Is it worth it to be able to start learning to program with Scrypto? Okay, and we will try to start showing how to install all that. Let's say the development environment is okay, to be able to start making at least our first programming package with script then. So look at some. I have tried to list some of the tools, and I will still have some left in the ink tank. Some of the development tools that we have, when you list them, do you realize, compared to other networks, how many different tools have been created over the past 2 years? For us, developers are worth tools that make it easy for us to interact with the radio network. Okay, first of all, it is, and that's what we're going to see today, it's written. It's okay with a click, it's an interface. It's okay that in some way it allows us from the console to interact with, let's say, the script library. Okay, I guess it's a create, because for people who know a little more about Rust, they'll know that the libraries inside the Rust are called create creates. Okay, then we can see it. Well, we can look for it now. If anything, I'm going to show it to you. Okay, because I think it's interesting if we search for create, okay, create I, or are the packages in the world, for example, of JavaScript, we would use NTM, for example, or PNPM. Okay, so they are package libraries. Well, in Rust world, we have create point I, or if we search here, Radix, it will immediately come out. It's this Radix spell, I imagine. We have to look. No, sorry, I'm writing a script. Sorry, script. Look, I write the first one, okay? This is the package described. Okay, so this is the library that we set up or install in RAES. to be able to use the functions of the DLT chain itself. Okay? And it is only create this library, but it also has a, let's say, an interface. We will see it simple to be able to create these packages from the command console. Okay? And then we have Resign. What is Resign? It is an emulator, a simulator, as its name indicates, of the Radix engine, RE Radix engine simulator. Okay, so we'll call it Resign, then we'll see it from the console as well. Does it allow us to have a virtual or simulated network of Radix on our computer where only we are? Okay, but where we can test, develop, and interact and do all kinds of tests. Okay. Before moving it to production, or at least testing, then add an extension for Visual Studio Code VSC. Okay, let's say it is Microsoft's best known and also free development environment. Fantastic, because if there is an extension, now we will also see how it helps us with all this. Then obviously a series of oops, this is this. We looked at a series of packages. Toolkits are valid for both the engine and the applications. That is a series of libraries that allow us to create both front-end applications, that is, the visual part and the backend are valid and interconnect directly with the network in a very simple way. From Radix directly worth 1SDK to connect directly to the gateway. The gateway is the node specialized in Radix that contains all the information, all the history of the network, and where we can access it. It is good to be able to read anything that has happened within the network and not just the current state, which is what we had in traditional nodes. Then we would have a library, which is a script and Rust, which is to create transaction manifests. Although we can also create it from the DAPI toolkit and from the engine. We can also create them, okay? But since they have created a new no for Rust, which makes it much faster, more flexible. Well, to greatly enhance this whole topic, it's okay to roll that what it allows is that we will see it with people now. Then we'll look at the whole people thing. Radix not only allows us to create type accounts, that is to be able to save funds, but also person type accounts. That is a specialized account for identity. It's not an account that does not allow you to save funds, does not allow you to save crypto or anything, but simply identifies us and is disassociated. Okay, we were watching it the other day, right? It's one N to N or one yes N. Then I can have different accounts. Okay, Y. Associate each of them with it or not, or at any time, whatever some people want that is associated people. Exactly. And Rolla is what allows us. It's at a given point that the app challenges the wallet and says, show me you're that person. A cryptographic test is valid, and this serves not only to make a login, but also to make it a verified login, that it is very difficult to deceive the system. It hasn't happened lately, but a while ago, it did happen to well-known wallets in the crypto world, where you were able to circumvent the system by telling it that you had that wallet, okay? But of course, because they weren't asking for cryptographic proof of possession,
that's when you're asked to sign a deal, correct?
Exactly. So here in this case, you are not signing anything, but we can directly send cryptographic proof, okay? We will see it as we will see it much later. It's simple, okay, and we'll see that much later, but it's also a very interesting tool to be able to do all that because it's super easy to use. On the developer side, we also have a dashboard and a console. Okay, we'll look at it right now quickly. And we also finally have two very powerful APIs. One is worth it for the gateway that we have seen before, which was this type of server that allows us to access all the raw data. Okay, in addition to the SDK, let's say this library makes our lives easier, then there is also an API that we can use. In other words, in reality, we can access GameWe data from two different sources. Depending on the type of programming in our environment, that is many things, but we have different ways of doing it, and we can even access the network from the API itself, also without having to go to the gateway, but to, for example, simply launch transactions. Well, we have already seen that there is an unnumbered one. We are going to see many of them today. Others in the coming weeks, we will be able to analyze each of them with maintenance, but that allows us, and we will see that they allow us from the front of the back, the smart contracts, etc., etc. Okay, they even allow us to start from no coding, no or no code. No, that is in a very simple way with some tools that are much more accessible to those who do not know how to program. We are going to be able to do many interesting things, and then resources, and we are going to see that now also resources for programmers. We have seen tools, now resources. Look at resources. We have an entire portal for programmers. Within the radio network, we will see it. Now we have 111 complete courses called Writing 101. Okay, it's a program, it's a syllabus, okay, where it explains to you step by step, well structured with even some types of exams. And finally, they give you a kind of certificate in the form of NFT if you have to pass all the, let's say, all the levels or be very interesting to be able to do it. Then we have documentation. Obviously, it's extensive. It is true that like all documentation, they always have to be there. And especially when the application is alive. In this case, the network is alive and changing. It's missing a few things, okay? But obviously, it's going to give us what we need to be able to interact and be able to make our stories. Documentation is not enough for us, and we still need more help. We have Discord, Worth channels specialized in Radix DLT Discord for developers. We will also see what channels are for people who are starting with script, people who are more advanced with script, people who do front end, etc., etc. So it is very good, let's say, structured. That is to be able to help us. And then even on Telegram, we have an exclusive channel for developers, where I also make a lot of use with the search engine. I search for something. I see if someone has already asked about it, you know, if from there, if I don't ask or whatever. And there are always people who know a lot, who help us and who are there right away, who also respond, There is a very interesting grants program valid for all those who want to create applications. You will see that this grants program has different levels, different formulas, etc., etc. Well, one can apply, and if you have an interesting application for what the Radix network is, you can access funds directly. Example code, it is very important that networks have example code. That is not only documentation, but things done since they work, so that you can see how it is done. For programmers, for example, is it more useful for me to see how someone else has coded the way they are doing it than maybe reading the documentation directly, okay? And then step-by-step guides for those who know that they start more little by little, who need a little more step-by-step guides, point-by-point explained so that no one gets lost, okay? So, and also several guides of these. So it's true that with all this, a person by himself, without the need for third parties, with a little bit of you have to know some programming, obviously he could go in and perfectly build his own apps, well, like in both the previous one and this one. If you're aware of both tools and resources, I have always put community as separate. Because in addition to the developer tools that the Radix people provide us with, there are also community tools. That is, what has the own done? Have the users themselves done it? Okay, we'll see some really interesting ones, you know. And then there's also community resources. This right here, right now, is a community resource. Okay, it is a video where from the community, we are trying to train for development in Radix. Since this is a community resource, there are already more community resources that we can also take advantage of them. There are forums that I have not put here, but different forums. Okay, I don't know what Radix talk is called. It seems to me that it is called one of them, very important, where let's say it is more like a forum type forum, where people leave a thread and leave comments on questions that provide answers, information interesting. That is, it doesn't give you life. Exactly, it doesn't give you life. Okay? So what do you say? We get right to the heart of the matter. So where do we start? Well, from the main page of Radix. Okay, what better place to start than there? Radix main page. So on the Radix main page, if we realize quickly, it makes a differentiation. If we are users, we simply want to interact, or if we are builders, okay? So in our case, if we were builders, let's see if we were builders. Okay, well, we would go into what I mentioned before, which is the Eastern portal for Radix developers directly. So it's okay to mention something here to get out of the way what I mentioned to you about the Grange program, okay? And here it's telling you, well, the different incentives, different Grange programs that there are, okay? And the simplest of all is the good one. Will we see it now? That simply for doing it, for signing up as developers and doing something they ask you to do, there they give you some XRDs. Okay, so there are different options. This is so that when you already feel comfortable and at ease with an application or have a great idea, then you know that you can always find some type of incentive. So here in the portal, what we have seen before, we have the 101 script. That's okay. You have to log in, of course. Okay, you have to log in. Registration is free, but you register with an email, etc., etc. Okay, and right here it says there's 20 hours of content. Okay, well, it's interesting. Is it worth doing this course? If you want to do it, basically what we are going to see here in the coming weeks is this course, but with, I would say that with more depth, this course stays in superficialities, in my opinion, also in many aspects. Okay, then let's see. Here's what I was going to say about the developer program. Okay, here in the yes here, it tells you is where if you get involved, there is one around here that yes, well, we follow the documents, what the documentation we've seen. This here is where we're going to spend 90% of our time on the documentation. Okay, there is a lot of documentation. We are going to do it here, especially within build and within script. Okay, this is where we are going to spend the most time in the documentation. Okay, this is where we will be most of the time. And then what had been discussed, the tools, okay, all the tools. Okay, what we have here, I think is coming. Look, here come the documents, the 101, the step-by-step that we have mentioned before, okay? All the step-by-step that are here, the tools, what we have mentioned about the toolkit, the gateways, the SDK role, the backend. Everything I mentioned to you before, here you have it, and we will see this next week. Okay, next week we'll dig into this part of here. On the difference between building a front-end application or a full stack, okay, this is not this. Next week, we will focus a little more here and on some of these things too. Okay, so what would be next? Well, once we are inside the documentation. Oh, well, and the dashboard is fine. I would miss the dashboard. The Radix dashboard is fine. The Radix dashboard is fine. Well, normal is where we can search here from a transaction, a resource, okay, an account. We can see the history, okay, and everything that has happened, etc., etc. Well, that's a web search engine proper. But we also have different ones, what the developer console says here, than what we saw, which is another tool where it allows us, among other things, to deploy packages. We'll see about it later. Create a token. Here we can create a touch too. Well, I'm going to connect. Wait a second. This is asking me to connect. Wait. I'll connect for a moment. This is me. It's just that he's asking me to wait for you, console Radix. That is, I don't know. It's tokenet. It's tokenet. Okay, I think I do have it here. You see here, I do have it. It's that since this, I have it for only for. To develop the package here we would do the package thing. Okay, we would upload a contract on the network. Because everyone understands us, a contract happens. That here we carry packages. Here we would upload it. Here it would allow us that. It is like you. I think that I believe that you exist. CTO truth here allows us to create a token, either fungible or non-fungible. Okay, if it wasn't expendable, this is no code. This is no coding, which I said before. Okay. To create every one of the non-expendables we want to create, we will already see this to configure the metadata of any type of entity, whether a 1 or 1L contract, FT1 token, the metadata, a system to send transactions directly to our wallet. And this is for when we had to convert from Olympia to addresses, but it is already out of use. Okay. So this would be the dashboard basically, which is what we have. There is something else in the dashboard. For example, in the Dub sandbox, we will see it. But hey, when we already have an application made to test certain things about the buttons, of how we connect with the button, with the login, etc., etc. We'll see about this later. So we're here. We're going to go from the beginning. What are we going to do first? We're going to install script. Okay, so if we go here to the script to see in the building, if we go from the beginning. That's if we go on building developer Kickstarter. We'll see about that next week. Okay, and here where it says setting app for development is worth making our setting. Okay, if we go here to getting East and Scrypto, we will realize that here he explains to us what we have to settle, and here the people of Radix. What they have done to us is that they have created 3, let's say, commands valid for the 3 operating systems, Windows, Mac, Linux, where we copy this, whatever system we have, and automatically installs everything we need for our environment. We could do it manually. Install everything you ask us here. Rasla LVBM, I don't know how it is. That is everyone with their stories. Okay, in theory, these here would not be perfect for us, and we are automatically going to try it. For example, we are going to copy the one from Windows, which is what I have here, and we would need one, a PowerShell that we only have in Windows. We have if we search. Windows PowerShell, and we also need to open it as administrator. Okay. Here it is. Yeah, I've opened 2. No. Okay, we see it, right? Yes, we are seeing the PowerShell. This is like the command console, but more powerful. Did you know her? Guillermo. PowerShell? No.
Kong.
But hey, on macOS, it's the same story. On macOS, you do know how to open the command console, right?
Yeah, I've ever opened it. Yeah, that.
Is it good? Well, the same thing, the shell that they call Mac OS would not be a shell, just like in Linux, in shell, and in Linux, I say, and in Windows, it is CMD or PowerShell. Okay, here it works well. So here we would paste, as I have done. Look, I have it, and it starts. To check first, is GitHub installed? Yes. Is it installed? Are Visual Studio Building Tools installed? I don't know if they are installed. And if not, I would install it. Okay. If they were not installed, I would install it. Here, check, is the LOVM installed? Yes, in my case. Since I already had it installed, well, Rust is installed. Yes. If it had not been installed, I would be installing it for you. Now it's okay. Everything is downloaded from the internet, and he puts it into you. Absolutely everything is okay. And now it is finishing installing us. What is the Radixing Jame? That takes a few minutes.
How cool to do everything to you.
Yeah, this is very good. This has been done lately. This is great, okay? Although it was not difficult, it was not difficult at all. The step-by-step installation is actually installing GitHub and something else, you know? The building tools, that is, and then Rust are easy because you simply have to put this command. It's not difficult, okay? It's step-by-step. It's basically going to copy and paste, but they already do it for you. Well, it's much simpler. Right? The idea is that with this, we are going to have both the clip is worth, that is, the system is to be able to easily interact with the script. On the one hand, it is the one that will allow us to create the packages. Okay? And secondly, the building the packages. Okay, that is compiling them, and then it will install the Jame Radixing simulator.
Okay.
Let's wait for it to finish.
As the almanac question ends in the comments, he says, when we create a touch, there is no way to renounce the contract. I understand that when you create the token, you have a type of NFT that I imagine you could send it to some wallet that no one owns.
Sure, not Mira. In this case, let's see the almanac. Both fungible and non-fungible tokens are not in contracts in Radix. No. You don't have them on any contract, okay? No, they do not live in a contract. So the idea we have of a serious virtual machine is normally that, let's say you are the owner with your key of that contract, etc., etc. This does not exist in Radix, okay? So in Radix, we had it before here on the dashboard. I say it because to see it more clearly, I am seeing myself here. Wait for me, I give it to you. It was you.
This makes me consider that the screen has disappeared.
Because I told you it would take a while. Can I stay connected? Yes, there is a moment in the installation that troubles the processor significantly.
Are you all right?
Let's see if it comes back. And if not, what I can do is stop presenting the screen now, right? Okay, let's wait a little while for it to finish. So what Almanac was telling him now, we do see. So when you create a token, what you can do is you can give it a non-fungible, fungible token. You can give it an owner, okay, and to assign that owner to it. Normally what we use are the badges inside radios. That is the badges. That is, you create another token separately that is fungible or non-fungible and tell it that it can be any type of token. What you want is the badge that represents, is the key that represents that you are the owner of that contract, but you can directly, if you want to give it up, you can create it without owner directly, you can do that. You can create a token without an owner, so no one is the one you create. And no one can change it, and you can't change it yourself. He's right there, you know? But yes.
But if you believe it with a badge, because yes, I have the badge of RAID CT, or then he would like to resign, I command him. I mean, it's not like you can do many things to him. You can hardly do much to him.
Well, of course, whatever. No, because you didn't create it that way. But if you had, because you have done it, if you had created it, if you realized it, is that now, when the monitor allows us, when you create a touch, we will see that later. When you create a resource, you can add a series of properties to that resource. So you can tell him that the one who can modify those properties, such as that he can lie more, that he can be burned, etc., that he knows he can be frozen, etc., etc., you can say that those properties. Or the one who can modify them, option Arla be the owner of that token, or you can give it another type of logic to be able to modify that type of property or interact with that type of property. So in your case, we would say that I believe that if I have seen the CT, or you can only modify the metadata with the owner, it seems to me.
Absolutely. I had faith in OzzySwap, even though I wasn't familiar with it at the time. Yes, I had already dealt with the NFTs for Ogis. Indeed, I managed them through the Rigs dashboard, but I handled the token in OzzySwap. Therefore, it didn't offer me many alternatives.
Naturally, that's to check whether he'll abandon us, because I believe he has left.
Is he still there?
Is it that he cannot? Yes, certainly. That's the moment when it is in the package where the Radixing chain is loading the Radix transaction, which is like the biggest thing. It always stays there. That's why I told you the other day that it was going to stay as if the computer was caught, you know? Is that why it is good that we have done it in this case, we have done it in 2? Because otherwise we would have lost the connection. Now, okay, wait, it's copying for a second, that then it's changing the mentality in that sense. Okay, because then what happens? What advantage do we have? Imagine that this Guillermo now wanted to get rid of the CTO, but not get rid of him by throwing me away, but transfer it to someone else, to yourself. Almanac, look, Almanac, you are going to do now, the owner simply has to transfer that key, that token to your wallet. That's it. There is no more, you know, it's as simple as that. And it's already you. You are the one who can, as if it were physically, it's as if I give you the key to my house. Well, you can now enter my house. That's it. This logic is like the normal, the physical, you know? and then that frees you up. Is that Almanac contracts and tokens have actually been programmed into the Ethereum virtual machine that opens you up a lot, unlocks your mind a lot of new things? Okay, until now, they were quite complicated. Okay, I mean, complicated, it was impossible, but it wasn't normal. You had to make too much history to be able to transfer a contract worth to another person or to get rid of it, etc., etc. Perfect. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can come in again to see.
By the way, Almanac, thank you so much for doing the timestamp in the morning videos. Thank you very much. It works for everyone. Everyone likes this one. I still haven't decided. The community is there voting if we are going to continue doing it live or not. But in either case, the community loves it. Almanac, yes, thank you very much.
I tried to go in again to see if, but it's still there. He's still there. There are things. He says pass. Okay. He says PowerShell is similar to bus script, the base script. Yes, it is similar. It actually says, but PowerShell is it is the native of Windows. Okay. And formerly the oldest Windows. But Windows 10, if you have it updated, and 11 also brings it pre-installed. It's just that Raiz, I'm sorry, it's just that okay, yes, no, don't worry. That's what we're for. It's a good forum for questions. Well, that's what you put. Exactly. That's why I asked. For the time of blockchain games, you can make a lot of sense that they launched a normal touch and then modified the contract. You can buy it and not sell it, of course. And we will see it right now. Okay. In fact, we could not, because I have the other one. I have it such now. When this is finished, and just install this and make the first package so you can see how it works. Written, then we will move on to installing the wallet worth altogether. So when installing the wallet, I will give you, and if you have interacted with the wallet, you will realize that since fungible and non-fungible tokens have properties such as minting, for example, a property who can mint it, when can it be minted? What is the maximum supply? You see all that data directly in your wallet. Okay, you don't need, and in the wallet, you don't need to know the smart contract or anything, but just there you go and you see the characteristics of that token. So I say in the wallet, if you own it, but if you don't go to the dashboard as we have seen before, you go to the token, you take it, you enter the address of the token, you go to the token, you search for it, and it explicitly puts everything there. Who can do that? What can you do when I can? Okay, and then that's the idea of transparency. Really, there's no need to standardize reading a smart contract. If one can create a token without much investment, it simplifies transfer significantly. How much did it cost to make the NFTs and cryptocurrencies?
The NFT as well, as I believe, like some...
About 100.
Yeah, not much. And when you create the token, you tell it the number of tokens you want it to contain, but it is a transaction that is .1 rakes, .2 rakes that are cents on the dollar, right?
That's it. That's no, it's not little. And then no, of course. But clearly, the idea is not so much to create a token as that. In reality, in any network is something simple if it is not to give a utility to that token. Making sense of the token at the end of this is going to make sense of it. Tokens are nothing more than the representation on a network of data. In this case, it may be economic data, but it may be another type of data. So the idea is that you look for that meaning, what am I representing within the network? And like writing to a network as if it were a kind of database, it is more expensive than a traditional database, precisely because of the special characteristics it has. What you have to try is that what you write on the internet makes real sense. Okay, be that one, that is. You can make the most of the special capabilities that the DLT network has. Writing data for the sake of writing data that you could perfectly have in a normal database would make no sense. In fact, in many cases, they will coexist. In fact, applications with traditional databases are going to coexist with decentralized databases, such as DLT rallies. Okay, and in each one, we will save the information that we need to save in that place based on your needs. So many times it won't make sense. And right now, most of the networks that some are already starting to charge for reading Radix, will pass you on. That is Radix. In fact, it already happens to him. That is when you do a massive reading, but that happens on all networks. So it's a massive read of the network. That is, you make a powerful application. And you have to read the network. You have to hire third-party services that allow you to do it, and those cost money. In other words, reading also costs money. When on a network in a traditional database, it is possibly not excessively expensive to read. The other way around, it is almost free, basically to see if this is over. I think Carlos.
As they are connecting, a script is being installed on this computer, which is what we are waiting for it to finish, as it uses many resources of the computer it has.
Right now, the CPU is on.
Network, the CPU is blocked. It is not blocked, but okay, know this. This transmitting thing is not a priority. Let me.
I'll knock him down.
And I get away with this chamba of being installed. So we are waiting for it to finish so we can continue with the information. This is the second session. This in the previous session, we saw a lot, now a very large background on writing, on radio, on the radio wallet. And in this session, we are already seeing each other a little more. How to start? In other words, we need tools like putting them on our computer to be able to start with the first steps. And well, more sessions are going to come. Not this one. Right now, what we have as scheduled are Mondays. At this time, we are going to be advancing little by little to try to show. I first learn to develop in script, and if I achieve it, then everyone can do it, right? Because this is ahead here. Hollow, if anyone can do it, then it seems like there goes the installation.
You can see it now, can't you?
It's right there.
That's now. If you see it, it's still there. It's already passed. The most critical part has passed, and now it's left there. Now, this does it in a tug. The latter are the packages, these here from all these raids around here, this WhatsApp, I don't know what it is. There are some packages out there that cost you horrors.
I mean, okay, I'm not saying it's like less than 10 minutes to install. I mean,
yes. Say what was I going to tell you that also that is, there are not very high requirements for a computer. The one I have installing right now is not a big computer. It is a computer that is maybe 7, 8 years old, huh? I mean, neither. No, you don't need big machines to program. Okay, I mean, it actually runs pretty much than any machine, and that's good. You know, then VI, Rust, because here what it's doing is compiling. What you're doing here is compiling every one of the packages you put into Rust. So it's not that you do an installation. An installation is sometimes nothing more than copying the already compiled packages because they already come to you. For certain things, you know, directly here what it does is that it compiles everything for you, and that requires many cases, a lot of load at certain times. If it is true that there are people, if the computer is like mine, it is a few years old, well, it takes you, 78 ones and no in 15 minutes. But hey, once he's finished, then he doesn't notice that breath or anything. On the contrary.
if nothing else is at the beginning in the installed or compiled one. But no, I still remember at the time, I say those of us who are already gray, that before, for example, to download a song, do you remember how long it took?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 1 day to drop a song, not this one.
Well then, finished installation, okay? It says this complete, okay, and it also checks for you. It tells you installed, it checks in case something has not gone well. Okay, it says Git is installed, Clan is installed, Avras is installed, Charge is installed, and Script 1.3 is installed. In fact, if we do Script -v, then we see that it is version 0.3, and if we do resync, then we have it installed -v. Well, yes, we see less than version 1.3, which is what we are running right now. Okay, then let's close this out of here. Okay? And let's see how to start some brush strokes of what it would be like, how it works, how this works. Okay? Let's see. Wow, I still have the Spanish Requiem here loaded. Okay, okay, so where do we have, for example, if the...
I have this one here. How did you open this?
It's Visual Studio. I'm going to create a programming folder. Okay, that's it. Let's put it in here. That's Visual Studio. Is it worth what happens that I have a little tuned this Visual Studio here, okay? But it is Microsoft's Visual Studio, okay? I opened it here. I have the icon here. Okay, you can download it from the Microsoft page. You know, is it also free? And it is very powerful here. What happens is that you can control N. You can open a terminal. Okay, you can close it. You give it control none Y. You open 111 terminal. Okay, terminal.
When I translate AL into English, artificial intelligence is going to battle with N.
Well, it could be this.
It's a letter that you might not know.
Here I'm not, and here I don't have any intelligence. Here it seems to me that, no, I don't use it in another one that I do use the program, so I script if we put less. H, what tells us what you have is what we can do with Scrypto. Like as we mentioned before, we can compile Veil. And another thing we can do is create new packages, basically, and then also run the tests of, because we will see that much later. When we make a component, a package, we write a package that is a smart contract. With Script, we can test it to check that it works before launching it. You know, the whole issue of testing is important. So as it tells us here, it is as simple as writing new package script. New package, you are missing a C, not news package and the name, for example. We could put an example name. Example is, okay, and with this we would say if we gave it to it, he would have already created it for us. If we do a dir, we realize that 111 folders have been created with the name we have given to the example package. What if we make a go here? In this example, we realize that it has created us, since the typical structure of everything, of every Rust application. Is this worth whoever knows Rust? This is something absolutely normal. It's worth where in SRC we have all, let's say, the code in test. We obviously have the tests. And then this is this. It's where the dependencies will be installed, okay? So if we came here, open folder to see it, here we have it in Andrés, don't you think? Well, if we give it here, well, here we put CO in point. It opens another terminal for us, okay? That is, it opens another terminal for us. That's right. It's worth what I said. Okay, so here we have, let's say, the code. Here we would have the tests. Okay, and order. Okay, we would have the dependencies. And in this case, we have, if you realize dependencies, we only have script and test scripts as dependencies. No, it doesn't need more dependencies. This is what we saw before create. Okay, it's what we have installed now. Okay, so this is a described contract. We were seeing it the other day. Let's see, it's that here puts me here, okay? Hide wait to hide now, perfect. This is a contract described Veil, where basically what it does is it creates a new token for us. We saw him the other day, right? This is the example we saw the other day that creates a new token for us. This token is stored within the contract because on radio we can use the contracts as if they were token and data and information containers. Okay, in this case, we're saving it. We saw it the other day. We're saving it in a specific type. This guy's not from Rust, he's a guy. When I talk about a type, I mean a type of a data type, okay? The Radix people have created with this create, they incorporate new types, okay? And a new type that they have created is this trunk, which is a permanent container that lives inside the smart contract, in this case, inside the package. It is worth saving within these contract tokens. What kind of token? Well, in this case, this is what we are telling you, that a fungible token in which we create a supply of 1,000 in this case, And then what we do is a function where what we do is every time we call this function, Lee, how many tokens are left in that permanent container of the 1000 that we had created at the beginning and takes one from us and gives it to the others? Okay? As simple as this is what this contract does. So how would this work? Well, we're going to control in so we can get him going. First, we would have to publish the package. Okay, we already have the package created. We have done it with the new package script. Okay, we've created the package. The package is the code that we need. This package is the code of. In this case, I say the DE code of this package because this package could contain more than one library, that is more than one link. R is more than one file. We can complicate it with more than one module. It's always worth it.
You create a package, it will give it to you with, that is the same example.
Yeah, and what you do here is you erase it, you start erasing it, you know what you don't care about. Okay, normally, for example, here, he creates this token within the with instance. This package is always going to create a token, okay? But we could have created this token from the outside and simply incorporated here, you know, having put it into the instance as if it were a property that is entering a. Okay, so this is an example just so we can see what he's capable of doing. Okay, so what would be the next step? Publish it. Okay, when I publish a package, what I do is that I give that package, I give it an address within the network. That is, I load it within the network. In this case, we would use resign. We have seen before that resign is the simulator we have from the network. If we do less H in resign, we will see later that resign allows us to do a lot of things. Call functions, call methods, generate private keys, export, natively create new accounts, badges, tokens, mutables, and among other things. As we have seen, completely reset this simulator from zero, publish what are we going to do now. See what time we're in. Is it worth it for us to tell him, I'm in this era, I'm in this other era, is time worth it too? Define accounts. See how the layer is at that moment. For example, if the one resign show that is to see anything entity puts it there, to see entities, show to see entities within the show ledger layer. So ledger. Okay. In this case, it is going to tell us, look, it tells us, look, this layer has all these components. All these components are worth all these resources at this moment, and it is in epoch 2. And the current time is this date, 1970. Okay, by default, I could modify the epoch in the emulator if I tell him to resim to see what it was like set current epoch. No, if I resim set current epoch and I tell him that change of the 2, we are in epoch 100 epoch reso of subset fully. And we tell him again, soul ledger, look, we are in epoch 100. This what allows me is to emulate at that moment. That is why it is a simulator to simulate at that moment the network condition that I want to see how the contract that I am building here would interact. Okay, so then we already have a simulator inside the network. Are we going to try to simulate that we publish this package? Because as we have seen, it is resim, publish, and what am I going to publish? You will see that in many cases of these, to say that we publish not only here, this is from many programming environments. We put the point, and then he takes the whole rave, okay, Pulis point, and he starts to compile it, okay, and in reality, it is written. He does the build, and then no, he doesn't upload it to the package to this virtual simulator. All this, what he's doing now is moving it to WhatsApp. It's WebAssembly, which is a way that we have, how I would say, to compile our code so that it is understandable in peer-to-peer environments. Let's put it this way. So Rust compiles on WhatsApp. But JavaScript can compile in WhatsApp. Many programming languages can compile in WhatsApp. So what it gives you is a file that I can take to a good environment where everyone understands WhatsApp. In fact, the internet understands two things. It understands JavaScript, browsers understand JavaScript, and they understand WhatsApp compiled. You didn't know this, William.
Kong.
Native. When you are writing an application for a browser, you write JavaScript. Okay, that's what, if you write in Python, the browser doesn't understand Python. It would have to translate it into JavaScript. And from there, okay, it presents you with whatever functionality it is in the internet browser. If you write in Aras, exactly the same thing happens. But at the time a precompiled system was created, let's just say it. Many programming languages could compile in that system called WhatsApp WebAssembly. That's why web is valid, so that everyone can say they don't need to go through JavaScript. So the internet, because in the end, the browser is the internet. The internet understands JavaScript, which is why they say it is the native language of the internet network and understands WhatsApp so that other types of language, for example, Python or Rust, can program things for. But others not only serve the internet, but also serve another. It is multi-purpose. So Radix uses this system. It is valid to package. It is valid or to encode the packages, the smart contracts, and upload them to the network. It is also a super fast, efficient system, etc., etc. It has many advantages. Okay, well, once you've finished publishing it, we realize here that it gives us the package address. Okay? This package address, if I want a receipt show, as I have seen before, but I change the layer, I want to see the package. Notice that here it tells me that the package, well, simply if we had it, we would have added metadata to that package that we can do it. We will see it. We will see it another day that we can do it. If we realize this is not a smart contract, it doesn't have an address where I can access this contract, I wouldn't be able to go now, you know? No, I couldn't go interact with this contract because what we have simply uploaded is to upload the code. We uploaded this code to the network, DLTA script Radix. Okay, we have it published now. What we're going to do is, once we have it published, what we're going to do is instantiate it. What does EN mean in programming language? When we instantiate something is when we use, let's say, a template, and from that template, we create a new element, a new object, for example, a class. So let's say that class has the structure of what that data should be like. When we instantiate it, we create a new object, and that object is the one that has life. The class is still a template, because in Redis, exactly the same thing happens. The package is worth it. The package is nothing more than a template, and we can instantiate it as many times as we want. Okay, and when we instantiate, it is when the smart contract is really alive within the network, and it is going to have its own address and and we are going to be able to interact with it. Okay, how do we do it? Okay, for that, what we do is we use the simulator again, and we are going to call function. What function? What package? First, I'm going to ask myself, what package you want to send this function from? Well, we could, if we put less, h is going to tell us, so I say -8, so that you can see that that you have to remember. Sometimes I don't remember things either. You know, it tells me, K tells me call function, package, a blueprint name, function name, and arguments. Okay, package, I got it. Okay, blueprint name. What is the blueprint name? This blueprint name is called hello. The function that I want to call the first function, the one that the instance of hello, and is already there and has no arguments. So I don't have to do anything to it. So it would be here, resim call function. Okay, now I have the package there. Okay, I have glued the package to the address you had given me of the package before. What's his name? What's the name of the blueprint hello? What is the function instantiate hello? Okay, it has arguments, it has no arguments. I'm wrong about something here, instance, don't instance, jello. I was wrong about something, let's see. I'm missing the S, don't instantiate hello now. Yes, well, that's it. Then what are you doing here? That was very fast, wasn't it? What are you doing here? Well, what he has done is actually send one, and we are going to see it now. Oh, hope he doesn't leave me. What it has actually been is sending a tranny and oyster again. What he did was send one. Is a transaction worth, here is worth what it has been to send a transaction that has told you that it has happened. It tells me the cost 0.6 is worth. That is, why did someone ask me before how much it costs? Look, it costs, the total cost is 0.6. And here it tells me the breakdown of the cost is worth 0.2. I don't know which 0.1. I don't know how much because, and it tells us the cost data in transaction units. The cost of storing it on the network costs 0.2. The zero sum 6.4064 does not. And here it begins to tell me all the events that it has had to do, the nodes that it has had to create, the ones that such and such, everything that it has had to go doing. Okay, here he keeps giving us the information of everything he's done. This is for as a programmer, in case something fails, you know where your transaction has failed. And finally, he tells me that he has created two entities. On the one hand, he has created a value component, and on the other hand, he has created a resource. If we go here, it will show you he's done the right thing. He has created a component because finally he had to create a component. We will see it later. He has created a component. And on the other hand, he tells us that he has created a resource because obviously he has created. We have said to also create a resource when now I take the component and give it a resignation show. And the component, we will realize that it tells us that this is the component. I don't know what. With the resource, no. And that there is a resource here. I don't know how many, let's see where. No, here, look what the component is. I don't know what tells us which package this component comes from. It is valid with the name of the package of the blueprint inside the package because a package can have more than one blueprint, that is, and then tells us that this component has a resource inside, which is the one we have saved here. If you remember, the one we have saved here has a resource called hello toke and has 1,000. Which then doesn't have any metadata. Okay, that's what we had said here, and it has 1,000. You realize all the information that all this, I am not showing us so that you can see where we are. It is a development tool. The resignation that allows us to emulate this is not on the network. It is not yet even on the Radix test network called Stoketing. It is on our computer exclusively. I could interact with this now. Yes, in fact, let's see. I just don't know which account I have to watch resignation show. Let's see how I could see the account that I don't know about. I have to see, I can see set default account to see my. Okay, I can create a new account, but this is not this one. It is not the main account. I say this because if not, and let's see, resign. What is valid here is that with Resignio account, what I have created is a new account so that I can interact with this contract. It is worth according to what I have my account to be able to interact with it. Resign, I'm going to set it as the default account. Resign, set default account. What was this experience like? It was a collection of fabulous account components, private key and owner budget. It feels overwhelming with so much happening. Let's tackle it some other day. If you keep asking without specifics, it becomes too much now and then. And additionally, we've been with Guillermo for an hour and 15 minutes.
Not 59 minutes.
59 minutes, that's it. So what did I tell you? It was going to last 40 minutes, not this.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes, huh? Well, how far have we come then? Today we have arrived that we have installed the development tools, not at least describe them. Okay, and we've been able to create create a package and publish a package. Okay, we had to pre-terminate. Let's do one thing. Look. Let's do a resign reset like this, much easier. Look, we do a resign reset. We delete everything we have done and now fix you. We do a resign. We are going to do a resign new account. Now this is already by default. Okay, this account is by default. Okay, I do this. and now fix you, I'm going to show you something else for you to see. I can go to these development tools, which I haven't demonstrated yet, which Radix has, okay? And I could have said, if I give it here, okay, I'm going to do it again. See if I give it here, see what a reset does, okay? If I give new a code, what has it done? He has created an account for me. You have seen that what I was writing with the development tools, this extension that I have said that you can install from Visual Studio in Visual Studio gives you some predefined things. Okay, then we're going to delete this one. Then we're going to delete.
And now look, if I give Publis here, he tells me which package he has. And if I give him between, it is the predefined. What is he doing? Look, Publis has just written and is compiling the package we just made for me. Okay, if he tells me I'm going to copy this, if he tells me deploy package, okay, not reset show, that this name, that it's here.
Down here, call function. Okay, we have done it before, and tell me what package. Look at you. He asked me what package this package, what name, hello, what is the east one, and I can copy it from here. He knows directly. He can say, well, look, so as not to make a mistake in writing, okay, I'll paste it, instantiate hello without arguments, such you have seen what he has done. I have written down what I wrote before by hand. Let's see what can move him. You see, I have written it down, okay, based on what I have been putting. Okay, here. And now, yes, call method. We are going to end this. Call method. We are going to call this function here is worth free token, where we don't have to do anything at all. And what he's going to do is that he is going to send us a message back. And he's going to put us in our account. Is one of these HHC tokens worth? If we look at our account right now, our account, that's why I want to do this from the account, because I need this from here as default. If we look at our account right now, resign show in our account, we have that in this account. We only have 1,000 radios. We have nothing worth it. They have put 1,000 Radix into our account, okay? They have put 1,000 Radix into our account and not much more. The thing is that this goes very far to see here. So it's worth it in our account. It's worth the account that this component comes from. Oh no, here from this account that this package comes from, we only have 1,000 Radix. And the NFT owner of from your own account, okay? Because these accounts already have one or one air budge. So if we now say a Kamezo is going to tell us what component. Well, let's take the component that he gave us before. When it has not been published before, it has given us the component and we have not seen it. Look, let's see. Let's see for a second. I have done 3 of the 3 entities here. Here's the component. See the component this? Okay, tell us the component. What do I hot name of this component? What hot name me? Well, free token, we call it free token. Arguments do not have any arguments. And you have seen it has created a transaction. It has created a transaction where what it has done good has to have given us the message of the transaction here. Let's see if we can see. Commit, look, says my balance is Neil, hello tokens. Not now giving away to token what we had seen here that had to say these messages. Then not those programming messages. Then no, we don't see them in the wallet. At the moment, these messages, are messages for us here when we are programming. Actually, what matters to us here is that we actually had to pass one of these tokens and we do a resim we had before, not a show ready again. If you notice, a hello token has been transferred to our account, okay? Well, this would be to see how it works. Okay, on the one hand, resint, you have more or less seen how both the script and resint, which is the simulator, work. And I think you have also more or less seen how the Visual Studio extension works. Look at things like creating a fungible token. Tell me, how many do you want? I tell him, well, look, make it 50,000. Okay, if you realize it right away, it makes us. The transaction in theory has no longer created it. If we go to the code show, we will realize that it has created us, set a token with this resource of 50,000. Okay, no. It doesn't put the acronym of the token. You know the code of the token because we haven't put any. Okay, but let's see that here it allows us to interact easily with. Well, this extension makes our lives easier to interact with REST, and then we will see later how it also allows us to interact with Stockenet, which is the Radix test network for us before deploying to Minet, which is the live network of Radix, the main network. Well, after we have verified that everything works here, we take it to Stockenet. We check that it works there. And then we're ready to deploy live on the network, on the main network. I think that's all for today, right? Everyone can at least do their tests and begin.
Start by installing this, install the
L.
script in on our computers, do these tests that we did this to go into the same thing and be prepared for the next one.
And are you ready for the next one? Yes, I believe in the next one. What we are going to try is good. We will see. Here it is not in time. No. What we would have to try is this same thing. Upload it, try to upload it, take it off in stock and is okay. And now interact from the wallet with this same thing. Okay, you leave me. I'm going to teach you one more thing. Come back to this again. It's worth one more detail so that they can see, because I have mentioned several times that all this we are doing are transactions, right? Of course, Resin is doing them from behind for us, but for example, the latter one, to see how much I can show you when you instantiate, not to see this one is worth this resign call method. We call the component is worth, and within the component, we call the free token, which is the method. If we do this, so it is one of the commands that we have in manifest, okay? And we tell it a manifest name, for example, in this case, I don't know, free dot. And it is, let's say, the extension that we have agreed on, which is for the manifest is RTM, okay? He has not launched, if you realize he has not launched Resim, he has not launched this. But what he has done has been, if we look at it here, create a file that we have here. And here what he has done is create the transaction. The manifest of the transaction is worth what he is doing behind it. So he is making the transaction. The first thing you're doing is calling a method of a component. Where is he blocking? In this case, he's calling this. This does it because it does. This does it on the test network. It does it like this. Okay, in real life, what I would be doing here is on our account, taking out the first or blocking the first to pay for this transaction. Okay, then what you're doing here is calling the component that we have given you, and within that component, free touch. And then finally, what you're doing is saying everything everything we say is in the transaction. Okay, what you have to do is enter entrail word top. That is, bring it here. You know where to go. That is everything that is within the best said, everything that is within the work top. Deposit all of this within the account that we want. In this case, our account, as we have seen previously. In fact, if this, what we have here, RTM, we could say Resim. I think it is run. Let's see. Wait, it is run, yes. Picture, run, and we'll give it free. RTM. What is executing this manifest? How RTR? I think it is RTM. In reality, it is RTM. Well, it doesn't matter. And we have seen that we have executed a transaction. What we have done before, you have actually seen. If we are going to the account, we will realize that now we have two hello touch, okay? It's so that you can see that actually what we are executing, as I have mentioned several times, every time everything we have done, every command that we have written with Resim, if we put script, manifest, and then a file name that is actually RTMRMT, It doesn't matter. Actually, the inspection doesn't matter. We'll realize it. That everything has a whole is a manifesto, because in the end, every interaction we have with the network is through transactions. That's why they are that. That's why everything is a transaction. And in this case, if we realize that the transaction in Radix, we are seeing it here. It's a super understandable thing that we will be able to see and understand right away. Even if we're not programmers, that's it. It was one more detail, not to mention.
It's quite good because it's like how to call, send and call functions. I can't imagine.
Exactly what it means to tell him the name, where the name of the function and the arguments are. If you have arguments, think that all these methods, what doesn't work normally is when we instantiate. And then the methods are the ones that are not, the instances are the rest of the actions. In addition, here we are making it public. We can make it private only for ourselves, only if they are from the contract. We will see. We can give. That is, we can say the contract that you can tell him. We will see later. Also, a function can only be accessed by someone who has a certain key to be able to do certain things. I mean, from here on out, we can complicate it a lot.
Very good. This is to finish this quickly. Just don't leave the questions. Kirito first said that tokens can be created, as well as Bitcoin, which release a certain amount of tokens every X amount of time.
Yeah. A stacking system, let's say, know something like that. Yes. I mean, yeah, that is, in the end, in a contract, you can practically any type of logic. You create it like this.
Or Kay asks Almanac, you can use Copilot to program this type of token.
See, I'm not using Copilot. Copilot is an artificial intelligence that can be provided by Microsoft that integrates very well with Visual Studio Code. I use one called Super Maven. I liked it more. It gives me the feeling that it is faster. Although it is true that Copilot just released a new version 2 weeks ago, and I haven't tried it, okay? And it is true that Super Maven, I think that now Copilot also does it. The thing is that I have told him that I haven't tried it lately, but I know that in the last 2 weeks, a Super Maven update has been released. What happens is that he read me, let's say, he knew me, he had already read me everything he had written, and then somehow he already knows all this. But I think if someone starts from scratch, they don't have enough to. That is, he takes the context of everything I have been doing, and then he begins to recreate the descriptor code. But since in the end, what is fantastic about using Copilot and Super Maven is to generate code in Rust. Because within each method, it's okay. What I'm going to write is Rust, literally. In other words, the more complex, make the code in there. The algorithm is going to be because I am making increasingly complex code in Rust, not because it is itself described. Okay, then we can help you a lot there. Copilot, okay, for example, you tell him, I want you to match me with this. Okay, and then you're matched. I don't know what a Nenu wants me to do. That is things typical of the Rust. You ask him and he can do it for you. He can easily interpret it for you.
Or perfect K. And the last thing you ask is this wallet can also be added as a browser extension. I imagine you mean the Radix wallet, not what it is for him.
Cell phone? No, Walix doesn't forgive her, he said. The thing is that what everyone is going to do and everyone is going to use is from the cell phone. So why do an extension? I mean, a wallet of its own extension is valid in the browser. So what if you have is an extension to be able to, yes, to be able to communicate your wallet, that is your mobile wallet with the browser, okay? And act as if it were a bridge between the two, launch the transactions from one to another and verify them from there. But the experience from the Power Mobile itself, without being able to access applications and be able to interact with them, has no rival.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And finally, Almanac, this is the second class. You will find 3 on the channel because the first one was first in Spanish, then I uploaded it in English, translated by artificial intelligence. But it's the same as the first one. This one too, I think tomorrow I will upload it in English with artificial intelligence to be able to upload this information to both communities. No, but this is the second one. I'm going to put them on a kind of list so that it's also easier to follow the course to make life easier. Well, ready.
Many things to explain, but we'll do it step by step.
Yes, it's little by little. It's a lot that we love each other, like in the world, in you abide, and well, no, we don't have enough.
No, indeed. But hey, we do it every week there, and if we don't get tired in a short time, we will have a lot of information so that people can start from scratch, right? I mean, we can't go fast because then someone could get lost along the way.
It is correct. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Andres. Thank you very much for your time, for having this. Well, now I have used your great mind, this and experience that you already have in many years of being developed in not only in Scrypto Radix, but in many other networks. This is the first interview I have with Andres. He explains to us a little more about that background and how it went, or how it went through the different networks. So also very interesting to see. When Radix arrives, he sees something that he had been looking for before, not that maybe one programming language, another language, they had good things, bad things. And Radix arrives, and it doesn't mean it's a perfect script, but it's the closest thing to, I say by words, I'm trying to put words in your mouth. Yeah, what I'd been looking for the longest time, right? Well then, let's continue with this. It's education, and again, we never know if in this course you can find something that will serve you for the rest of your life to make a professional career. No, we don't know. So thank you very much, Andres. Thank you all, and more later. Tomorrow I will upload it in English. Be very well and see you in the next one.